You're listening to Opinions in Beer. I prefer mead. You sent me to hell, Jason.
I really just want to make everybody jealous.
I'm a person from Earth.
Listen, what are we talking about?
I reckon it sounds like Opinions in Beer.
You can do it. Dingo?
Oh, I'm good.
You're the smartest dumb guys I've ever met.
Three, two. Oh, it already did that for us. One. Hello. I am one of your hosts, Adam. And our other host here with us today is Eamon.
That's not how you say it.
Amon.
No, yeah, it's Amon.
Amon.
Oh, I've gotten
Moon.
what have I got?
X-Man.
Amon, and then
But it starts with an X.
I've gotten
So that doesn't make sense.
Zymonix.
What's the X mean?
And then people also call me XA because
XA?
they just don't want to read it all out.
Okay.
So
XA. It's
X,
essay.
they're like XA,
Oh,
like
essay.
X.
Like essay.
Oh.
Essay?
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe they're like
This
not being
is
friendly at all.
Opinions
They're
and
just calling.
beer.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Welcome to the show. Today's episode that we are presenting to you is an episode dedicated to England. Well, we are reviewing the new Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Far From Home. But before we do that, let's get into the beer of the day. And today's...
Hey, wait a second.
No.
So like,
What?
no, for real, dude. Like, are we coming up on? Is this gonna be airing like on 4th of July?
Yes. 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
Where's the? I need
This
some
is our-
patriotic music to be playing. Like,
Kaboosh,
I'll just
kaboosh,
we'll just
kaboosh.
do the air
Kaboosh.
horn
Okay, do
noise. Beep, 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 beep.
But yes, this is airing on 4th of July. This is our 4th of July episode for those of you listening on 4th of July or after 4th of July if you if you wanted to wait for reviews until after you've seen the movie. We are going to be doing the beer of the day first. So you know what? Maybe listen to the beer of the day. Go away, go watch the movie, come back, and then watch it again. That's 2 downloads for the price of 1.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, we should probably split it up, kind of like how we did the last Marvel
Yes.
movie, where we did like a spoiler-free section and
Yes.
then a spoiler section,
And we'll count
where
down
we
to-
talk about all the heads
Yeah.
being chopped
We'll
off.
count down. We will count down.
Because
to the-
boy, did the heads roll for. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's get into the.
beer of the day. And today's beer of the day is brought to you by the Samuel Smith Old Brewery Tadcaster from England. It's an import straight from England. It's one of the oldest oatmeal stouts in the world. Not this particular beer, but the brand. One of the older oatmeal stouts. Oatmeal stouts is one of the and actually it's an England style stout, which is it's going to have a very Guinness type taste to it, if anything.
Really?
Yeah, American stouts tend to have more of like kind of like a sweetness to them, right? Like more of like an abundance of like that weird flavor, like an abundance of flavor, and like
Yeah.
England style stouts are more of like they're more smooth, and yeah, that's what. they're known
So
for.
I was told today by someone, because I was drinking a little bit of Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey.
Oh yeah.
And I was told that the proper way to drink that Irish whiskey by an Irishman was that you're supposed to have a Guinness with it as well.
Oh yeah.
So you're supposed to be, drink a shot and then have a Guinness.
That's pretty cool.
So I do have Tullamore whiskey still, so I think I'm gonna do a drink
shot.
this
Right.
and then taste it, and then about halfway down maybe do
Some
yeah,
Tullamore whiskey.
yeah, a little bit of both. So
Nice.
yeah, give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
So I'm gonna, while Eamon is off doing his thing, I'm going to smell this beer. It smells very malty. Smells oaty. Smells of malt and oats. Has a pretty good profile. I do like the coloration from the side of the glass. It's a really darkish beer. It's It kind of has a Coca-Cola color though when it like reflects in the light, like a. So I'm not really digging. It's not as
Yeah, I didn't get
dark
a.
as I really like it.
In most cases, I usually get like a clear glass. I didn't even get a clear glass.
But you have a nice flannel jacket.
Yeah, exactly.
Flannel jacket drink, and so the coloration's pretty good. Besides some mild Coca-Cola colors that are rising to the top for some reason. So it's a tad bit see-through, which means it's probably going to be kind of thinner than the average stout.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been listening to a couple of reviewers recently, and they were kind of complaining. I noticed that like a lot of people right now, it's really in question, and I think the beer that one of the beers that we recently tried, the one in the fancy can that you brought from the Humble Brewery, I can't remember the name of it. Do you remember the name of it?
Yeah, Ingenious.
Yes. All right, you know how that one looked, right?
Yes.
It didn't really look like appetizing or whatever.
Right.
But the taste was just mind-blowingly interesting, correct? Like, yeah. I've noticed that, like, a lot of the craft beer people that I follow on some of the social media networks and whatnot, they have been saying, like, that they don't think that, like, looks really should play that much of a role in the way that you judge a drink or whatever.
That's why it's only 3 points.
What do you mean by that?
Looks, the appearance is 3 points in a judge.
Oh, really?
In a judging competition. So actually, because 15 points altogether goes to, it's 15 points go to smell, aroma, and looks. But only 3 of those points are from looks, and then 12 of them are from the aroma, how it smells.
Okay. Well, I mean, I get the technical emphasis on it, but at the same time, like, I don't necessarily like. I will never judge a beer based on like.
Right. I'm just saying
another rating system.
I'm just saying how the Brewers Association, which costs a lot of money to do that test to become a Brewers Guild member.
Do you think that
become a beer tester?
Do you think that the beer testers would appreciate
I mean, they're the ones that say
and
what's craft
or
and not.
also abide by the same rules and guidelines that we use on ours? Like, would they look at this and would they rate this like one shark over a riverbed, or like 3 dancing bears except one missing its head because it was a gummy? You remember? You see what I'm saying? Would they take into account these absolutely perfect portrayals that we are painting of these beers?
It would take away our craft beer status of our show. It's like, that's not a craft beer show, it's a goofy show.
Well, you know what? Then we're going to coin a new term right now. We may not be a craft beer show, but we're a professional beer show.
Professional beer show. We don't need your fancy beer degree.
No. We don't need a fancy beer degree. We're professionals.
Beers are good.
And I'm pretty sure that you are too.
And I'm going to try this beer.
All right. Oh, but God, the look of this beer. I'm just kidding. It actually does look pretty nice, though.
So I took a big swig of it.
I can't smell anything. I
Man,
had
this
like
one's, this one's kind of like
old beer sitting around here, so like I'm just smelling that, and I don't know if that's the oatmeal. Does the oatmeal stout smell like old beer?
It kind of has like a weird cherry taste to it. Maybe that's just me. I might want to try some of this.
I'm gonna down this thing. I just want to really appreciate the fact that Samuel Smith put a gold wrapper on the top of his beer.
So it's about
an opaque, wonderfully silky and smooth textured ale with a complex medium dry palate and bittersweet finish.
That's what it makes a dry palate. That's what makes it so so I don't know. It's like a weird. It's pretty. It's really smooth. I'll give it that. It's smooth.
So, okay, I've got to. I love this next sentence. Look, it says brewed with well water. And then in like annotations it says the original well sunk in 1758 is still in use in annotations. Like, that's supposed to, like, you're telling me you're using some old ass fucking water supply, and that's supposed to make me, like, do you believe that your well is like magical, and that's making your craft beer like magical? Like, I just want to give my opinion on that and say that I noticed that you guys totally just advertised like that, and that's okay with me. But is that what's going on? Like,
maybe. A lot of people on our Opinions in Beer Facebook group, which you should join, you listener, you should join our Opinions in Beer Facebook group on Facebook called Opinions in Beer. On our Facebook group, a lot of people were praising this beer, saying that this thing's one of the classics. We had quite a few people say that it's it's just a classic oatmeal stout, and it's really, really good, and it's good.
Yeah, I just had a good old sip of that, and that's delicious. I believe that we were told that that we would no longer have to search for a beer after this. That's what they said. That's what the comments said. I mean, I'm not going to put anyone on blast, but I believe that specifically a certain friend of mine did say that.
So far, the beer recommendations that say that these are the best beers, was it Yingling and this one from your friends, have not been.
Are you discounting my friend's beer taste?
I might be. I mean, it's not a bad. Look, it's not a bad beer.
Okay,
it's smooth, and it's it's. I mean, it's just this comes down to a preference, if anything. I like my stouts just a tad bit thicker. So
okay.
There's that. It is an oatmeal stout, but so I'm definitely getting the. What's cool though? I'm getting the flavor that I think they're portraying. I'm getting a weird. Like a weird cherry aftertaste though, or something.
Okay, so
is that the oat?
I know what you're talking about, and the one thing I took away like 3 things whenever I drank this beer, which is cool. It's very interesting in the fact that I felt like it had 3 faces. Like, whenever it first hit me, it felt like almost like a Budweiser or something, but then like it immediately went into like nice stout, so you can tell it's kind of like a thinner stout or whatever, like what you're talking about. But like it had a lot, like whenever it hit, it had a good like almost like
almost like Guinness,
chocolatey like flavor in the center or whatever.
Okay.
I felt like it kind of like had like hints of that.
Okay.
And then there's the third one that I think that is the same reason why you're saying that, like, oh, I don't think so. Is that bittersweet? What you're saying is like cherry or something.
Yeah.
What they're saying is like malted barley or something.
I mean,
they're not really putting a label on what any of the other flavoring is on it.
Darn you, England! No.
Knocking down the lively head of yeast formed during fermentation in stone Yorkshire squares. It's this guy with a paddle, and he's trying to row a boat in a sea of oatmeal.
If I almost bought us.
I just figured out the rating of this beer.
Yeah.
It's like trying to row a boat in a sea of oatmeal.
Yeah. It's like.
The only problem is I think that you're gonna drown.
Why?
Because you have a boat and you're trying to row an oatmeal.
No, you won't drown. You won't even sink.
Dude, oatmeal's like quicksand. It's very well known.
If you step in oatmeal?
Yeah, you're going straight to the bottom. You're going straight to the bottom.
I think it's too good for the boat to sink. You might sink, but the boat won't sink.
Be weird and sticky all the way down, too.
The boat sinks.
You think that the boat... What? You're saying that the boat sinks, but...
No, the boat doesn't sink.
The boat doesn't sink, but the person sinks.
If you step out of the boat?
Yeah. Okay. Well, this guy's trying to row in it, and I feel like there might be a small hole in this boat, is what I'm getting at. Is like, this is a good beer. Like,
he is rowing in oatmeal.
Like, that's the problem. Is it's honestly a solid 9 on initial taste, but the after I don't like the bitterness of it, and that's probably just me. Probably other people are gonna listen to this and be like, "Man, I love when my beer punches
bitter,
me
but
in the
say,
face."
Like a weird, like the sourness of a cherry. It's almost kind of sour for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm nuts. Maybe I shouldn't be judging beer. Maybe I shouldn't be judging beer. But look, it's not bad. It's smooth, like it says. It's a. I mean, if you're trying to move around and your main thing is Guinness or something, or maybe one of those Guinness Nitros or something.
Yeah.
This is the next.
Yeah,
step.
no, you're exactly right.
This is the next
is the
step
perfect.
After Guinness Nitro, then come get this Oatmeal Stout from Samuel Smith, and then and then move on from there. Slowly, this is just that next tier. So it's not horrible. It's probably
No, that's what I'm saying.
tastes,
I feel like the initial taste is a solid 9, but just that aftertaste just brings it down a couple notches for me. So I'm gonna leave it at probably a 7, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's high up there in the sense that the flavor is bold and beautiful. I do really like the flavor of it. So there was I was gonna ask you something, but I forgot. So
okay.
You'll just have to edit that out.
Yeah.
Or will I?
But so yeah, man, we saw Spiderman over on Monday. We saw it Monday. Monday night, midnight. First showing, obviously. What'd you think of it? Initial thoughts.
Okay.
Well, I guess this part's gonna be a no spoiler section. We're gonna try our best to just say good or bad, and maybe. Oh, you know what we can do? Let's rank the Spider-Man movies, and then we'll do that, and then we'll go on to a spoiler.
You want me to rank the Spider-Man movies? Do you understand what you're asking here?
Yes.
There will. I can't do it.
Why?
I'll be here for hours. I don't know. I think
Should we dedicate one of our Big Tuesday beer episodes?
You know what though? I can't comment on the Andrew Garfield ones. I haven't seen those.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't seen either of
They're
them.
too terrible. Did you watch Venom?
Hashtag.
Technically, you're supposed to include Venom now into the.
Hashtag not my Spider-Man.
Okay. Did you watch Venom?
Hashtag Tobey Maguire.
Cause you're supposed to include Venom into the ranking. They say.
As a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. Because
it's not though.
I know, but they include it because it's a Spider-Man universe movie.
No, that doesn't.
It's a Spider-Man movie.
No, it doesn't work like that. It's not a Spider-Man
like how they
movie.
said whenever they do
it's a Marvel movie. It's a Marvel movie, yes, but it's not a Spider-Man movie. It's a Venom movie. Venom is was established as his own character for a very long time now. He did obviously start off, Yeah. And it's very interesting. Have you seen the? I'm sure, guys, if you just look on YouTube, there's 1,000 videos that tell you about the origin of Venom. And the black suit Spider-Man and how it all came to be.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I want to say it was first introduced in Secret Wars.
Yes.
And in the 60s or something. Oh man. And then
thank you, Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, well, Todd McFarlane Todd McFarlane in the 60s. That's what people think though. They really do think that Todd McFarlane made Venom a long ass time ago, and it was actually a fan included. A fan had wrote in sent a picture of a black suit Spider-Man, and they dug it so much that they made it a thing, and then eventually they brought it back and it made it into its own story arc and shit. And I want to say that's when Todd McFarlane was doing the art and whatnot for Spider-Man, yeah.
So, Spider-Man Far From Home. I had fun with the movie.
Okay, so all right. So for a spoiler-free review is what we're doing right now. Here soon is going to be a spoiler review. We're going to double down on that so that everyone here knows if you haven't seen it.
This is very vague before we go into our spoiler stuff. It's pretty good. Really good. After sitting on it for a minute, though, I don't think it... I'm not sure I like the Spider-Man parts. Or no, I mean not Spider-Man parts. Maybe the Peter Parker parts. Maybe that's what it is.
The Peter Parker parts?
That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
how would you...
Like,
okay, so let's ask this.
Story development.
How do you feel the old movies weighed the ratio of Peter Parker v. Spider-Man? Like the older movies, I felt like maybe we got more Spider-Man. I feel like we're getting more Peter Parker than we're getting Spider-Man.
Well, the thing was, I think, it's hard to say. They just did so well at showcasing Peter having a hard time being Spider-Man and doing his daily stuff.
Yeah.
I think they did a better job at that in the original trilogy. Where this one is kind of like they try to do it. Like there's certain scenes where like, oh look, he's having a hard time with this, that, and the other.
Exactly. Thank you, because that's like the main point that I have with it, and I don't think that that's believable. I don't believe that Tom Holland, like, with the stuff that happens in the movie, like, I just don't believe that that's believable as much. Like, as if you would have asked me a couple movies ago, maybe, but I feel like it was a little too, and I've already said this, but I felt like it was, like, a little too Disney-fied for me. Like, that it felt like I was watching maybe, like, a High School Musical with, like, with fucking Marvel cameos. Like, that's not an exaggeration either, and I don't mean to rag on it, because there's certain things that they did in the movie that are long overdue in the Spider-Man universe. Like, really long overdue. Like, this should have happened a long time ago. But I'm glad that it's happening now, because it needed to happen. So, ultimately, look, we're being harsh on this movie, because it was a good movie. It's just there's a lot of expectations, and I really feel bad for Tom Holland, like, as an actor, as a human right now, because he literally like people, they're forcing him in the movies to be like the front runner or whatever, kind of like to take over like Iron Man's spot. If you guys have seen the trailers now, you already know this, that, like, you know, everybody is looking at Peter Parker / Spider-Man to step up into the lead role of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Right. I mean, and this was something that happened at like Tom Holland had such a hard fucking like such huge shoes to fill, because he's not only making up for the lack of Tony Stark, but he's also making up for the lack of Captain America, of Thor, of Scarlet Witch, of Black Widow, of Hawkeye, of Real Nick Fury, and of other things like that, you know? And people don't understand, like we kind of like are viewing it as like, oh yeah, like, it's, you know, it's just a movie by itself, but it's like there's a lot of weight on this guy's shoulders, like, in society right now. Like, if Tom Holland fucks up, like if they fuck up, man, Tom Holland's gonna be done.
It's obviously divisive. Like, you know, I mean, he's not a bad Spider-Man. He was good at Spider-Man, and he does really good scenes in the film.
Yeah,
it's not him. It's not Tom Holland. It's just it's the story.
Yep. That
they're doing with Peter Parker is just not believable. It's too, like he said, it's too Disney. It's so weird, because we've had like this. The thing is, we've had a realistic Spider-Man that worked.
Yeah.
As much as Sam Raimi's thing was kind of campy or whatever, it was still like like he had realistic realistic problems and stuff like that.
Like his web shooters. Have you seen the debate about the fact that Tobey Maguire had
organic.
had the organic web shooters,
Which he does in
Spiderman.
At one point,
the old, what do you say?
The
old
he does have organic. So.
Says it's tied on the old web slinger.
Yeah. Oh my god.
The organic web slinger.
Oh my god.
Or web shooter. Yeah, that's what it is.
But I mean, like I said, there's some silly. I guess there's some silly stuff in the original, but I feel like the portrayal of Peter Parker having to deal with stuff was more believable in that one. And honestly, the build up to him and Mary Jane's relationship was better than the original trilogy. It honestly makes no sense because they didn't even like each other in the last movie. Like you kind of just jump forward, and they're just randomly, I'm in love with MJ randomly. And
well, are you talking about the new movies or the Sam Raimi one?
I'm saying the new movies.
The new
kind
ones.
of random with it.
Well,
the old movies I felt built better.
So what would you? Here's the question: what is like? Was MJ lost in the snap too? Like, because if she wasn't, then I could see how, like, maybe, like, care would develop over time of having lost someone and then them being reintroduced into your life. Like, I feel like...
So they both snapped.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to build a believable story for Marvel, but this is not what they used. They went with whatever the story you're saying is, which is... I mean...
Maybe they hinted at the last one.
I didn't want to like hate on it that much, but you're exactly right. Like that's exactly what it is.
Just weird things. However, I'm not even gonna say. So, what would you rank this movie?
I know it's really hard to talk about this because we can't talk about too much because there's a lot of things that can be spoilers. So we can't really even talk. We can just give you how we feel about it and tell you whether or not you should see it.
I think it's
But one thing that I will say is that I appreciate the fact that there is a little bit of there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and you kind of don't really know what's going on a lot of the time. Like I feel like it was a good old fashioned mindfuck.
Yes.
Did you feel like that?
Yes.
Like I'll tell people what my jokingly going into it, like what I was saying, and I said that I thought that within the first 15 minutes that they were gonna chop off Mysterio's head, like they no, we can't say that. We can't say it. That they were gonna chop off his head, and then and that they were gonna dust Spider-Man again. They were with after like another 15 minutes in, so about 40 minutes into the movie, then you're saying, well, who's going to be the next Spider-Man? We thought Spider-Man was the next Iron Man. Who's the next Spider-Man? And that's when Miles Morales is supposed to show up.
Right.
That's what it's crazy to me because like I'm okay. Like I'm a Miles Morales fan. I loved Into the Spider-Verse, but like I'm not like dying to see him in a movie just yet. There's a lot of people that I've liked over the years, like Ben, exactly. Thank you. Like Ben Riley, and then also, like there's Kane, dude. Like fucking Kane is one of the coolest comic book heroes or anti-heroes ever written, and he's like a Spider-Man character. And people don't get this, but he is into the okay. So law, because all these nerds have been saying that like there hasn't been like like older like rugged like kind of like fat Peter Parker like thing, and what they don't understand is that Kane is a clone of Peter Parker. He like essentially is Peter Parker. He's just like a hobo Peter Parker that took up like a badass cape and then can beat the shit out of people. Like Kane is awesome. Who else are some of the characters that they really should be introducing from Spider-Man?
I don't know. I guess Venom. They should be introducing Venom again.
Yeah, Venom and Carnage. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're making all these solo. You see, they're making Morbius.
Are they? Is it confirmed though? Like they're really doing it? Because it was like they had all of these movies confirmed, and then once Disney bought them out or whatever, bought out Fox. Wait, so all these characters? How is Morbius in the Sony universe then?
Huh?
Morbius
is Spider-Man.
So because he's considered a Spider-Man character.
Sony just is like leasing. They're leasing Spider-Man to Marvel. That's why they keep getting in like kind of like, are like not. They're kind of like passive aggressive about it, whether or not Venom and all of them are
even involved.
Marvel people are even going to see them because they're technically they're not leasing the villains. They're not leasing all these people. They're leasing Spider-Man, and they're just working together with like Spider-Man solo movies. Everything else has nothing to do with it. Like Disney has no control over anything outside of Spider-Man that they're leasing.
Okay.
And they only really have like some creative input of where like the story goes, not necessarily what happens in the story.
So why? This is the problem that I'm having understanding with this. I guess this is all weird copyright laws and stuff like that. And ultimately, I guess like Stan Lee would be one of the only people that had creative direction over what was considered what in what universe. Because Venom, I would absolutely consider like immediately a Spider-Man character, but he is something in his own right now. Morbius, it's a question of whether he was introduced in Spider-Man or not, because I don't even technically consider Morbius like really that much of a Spider-Man character. Like I was pretty sure that he was a lot of times more invested like with like X-Men and potentially like Deadpool and stuff like that. Yeah, man.
I thought you were gonna say Morbius has been a villain to
well, he's been like his own thing too, like kind of like how Craven does his own thing too. Like
Morbius has been a villain to Spider-Man and Blade, and that's about it.
Yeah, there you go.
He hasn't done. He hasn't really been a villain to many people.
So I guess you don't consider like Blade as part of like the extended X-Men universe?
No, Blade's his own.
Okay. I mean that's how I've always seen it whenever they introduced him like that.
I don't know who owns Blade.
That's a good question. See, it's like how they keep introducing characters, and then it goes like, well, who are the characters? What if Blade was introduced in Spider-Man, and then so would Sony have the rights to it then, even though it's already its own established universe outside of it? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well, it's kind of it's weird, right? Because that's why Fox had they had both Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and so did Marvel, and they killed the opposites.
You're right.
Because they can't have Marvel could have Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, but they couldn't be Magneto's children.
Yeah.
Because Magneto is X-Men.
Yep.
So it's like weird copyrights like that, and it's kind of funny that like Fox killed Scarlet Witch, and then Marvel killed Quicksilver.
Yeah.
And so they had the opposites on their rest of the movie.
Exactly. Yeah. It's intense, and I'm glad that we're kind of able to talk about this stuff, because this is, I think, the true discussion of the Marvel multiverse.
Right.
This is the true discussion on where the copyrights lie. Because some of the things that happened in this movie, this is the only thing I'm going to say, and it's not a spoiler, but there is some things that may make you question copyright status of certain individuals.
Right.
And that's all I'm going to say.
And that's all he's going to say, because we're going to now rank this movie, count to 5, and then spoil it.
Yeah, and then we're going to say everything.
Okay. I don't know. I'm going to rank it a little bit. I want to say it might be better than the first Spider-Man movie.
Spider-Man Homecoming? You think it was better?
No, I'm saying the Sam Raimi's original.
Oh, you think this is better than Sam Raimi's original Spider-Man?
Mainly because I'm going to get into it. That's why I just complained a lot about it, but overall...
Hey, here's the thing, though. We also have to take into account that was like one of the first superhero movies that had happened in
Yeah.
quite a while. So like you can't really say whether or not like I think that it filled a void, and that's why it was so popular.
The first one.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it's a little better than the first one, because there's some scenes in the first one that I'm like, it kind of drags. The first movie kind of drags a little bit.
Yeah, and there is a
And,
lot of stuff that's like that looks bad and is super unbelievable. Like, can we
filler.
comment on that?
Yeah. I'm saying this. I was just saying. Originally, I was saying that, the story of Peter Parker was more believable and things like that. There was a certain story elements I enjoyed more in the Sam Raimi trilogy than I did in this one.
Yeah,
But-
I feel like they already had introduced him.
But entertainment wise and when I compare it all together, it's probably the second best Spider-Man movie, right below Spider-Man 2. Every time I watch it, it's like, it's just so good. I don't know why. Every time.
Really? You're talking about the
Doc
Doc Ock,
for some reason, like,
Sandman and Doc Ock?
What's weird is like when I try to remember it though.
Or was Sandman in the third one?
Sandman was third one.
Okay, so there was a supporting villain with Doc Ock in the second one. I haven't seen it in a long ass time. There wasn't?
No.
So it was just straight Doc Ock from I haven't watched it in so long. Maybe I need to.
Well, it was just surprising because you're watching it. It's just like it's so like entertaining, and it's like why is it so entertaining? I don't know, because when I try to think back on it, like right now I'm trying to think back at Spider-Man 2 and everything that happens.
There's fireworks being popped in the background.
And it's just
kind
of like I can't put my finger on what I even like about Spider-Man 2 besides the fact that every time I watch it, I have to tell someone how awesome it is. Because I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
they just get everything right in that movie. Everything about the character, about Spider-Man, about the villain, everything is just completely right in Spider-Man 2, and that's why it's going to stay my number one for a while probably. But
well, that's just your opinion.
Yeah, right. But
man.
So Far From Home is the second best Spider-Man movie.
Second best? Okay, so you're saying that it's better than Spider-Man 3.
Yes.
You're saying
Obviously.
You're saying, well, what were the Andrew Garfield ones kind of like? Because like I said, I haven't seen those, so give me kind of a basis.
They were
to
kind
go
of
off.
more along the lines of like the Ultimate Universe, which I hate, and not even the Ultimate Universe, but the Ultimate Cartoon Universe, which I really hate, because it was just like some Disney XD. Like I don't like.
It was too
weird,
campy, huh?
I guess, and it was just like, but it's weird because like Peter Parker is like, they just made him like this weird skateboarder cool kid or something. And,
Oh.
And yeah, and like, oh, I'm so good at playing basketball. Like, it's like,
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not a.
I'm not sure.
But I mean, in theory of the multiverse,
Yeah.
theory of the multiverse.
But and then the villains looked really weird and stupid, and I didn't like a lot of the casting choices. And then like Dennis Leary was randomly a cop. It's like, what the fuck's going on here? What's going on?
They were building him up for the extended Marvel Cinematic Universe.
he gets axed.
Where
Dennis Leary gets killed by the lizard or whatever.
And then doesn't he come back as Two-Face?
No.
Yeah, he comes. No, that's how the movie goes. Is he comes back as Two-Face.
And what is the only thing that was good about it is that they kind of shut up. That's not the same person.
I know that, but they're very similar.
Him and Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah. I always get those three. Okay, I didn't even say the other one. The other one is Robert Redford. I get those three people.
my God.
Like, they're like all, to me, the same. Like Daniel Day-Lewis, Robert Redford, and all the other ones.
But no. I don't know where I was with this conversation because you started saying random stuff.
I'm sorry.
But Spider-Man 2, amazing
So
Spider-Man 2.
of those two, you're saying Spider-Man 2 was the better one?
Slim margins, but yeah.
Okay.
Only because it recaptured some comic book moments, like by the frame, and
who were the villains of those movies?
That's what sucked was, it was Electrode, and Green Goblin. Not even Green Goblin, just Goblin because he wasn't green. He was and not even.
Was it like Hobgoblin?
Actually, it was more like Hobgoblin, but they made him a real Goblin though.
What?
You understand?
Oh, okay. It's kind of like how
'Cause he had
because some of the comics
Yeah, how
make Green Goblin into a real goblin.
Yeah, well, this one, yeah, he has a skin. He suffers from a and actually it's not Norman Osborn, it's his son Harry Osborn that's the villain, and he has the same skin condition as his father, and it comes into your bloodstream at a certain age. You start at a certain age, it just starts developing in you or whatever. And so he hits this age.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding.
They have a genetic goblin disease.
Yes. And so he becomes a goblin, and
yeah, that's a bit much. Like, don't get me wrong.
No, it's all stupid. It's so stupid. It's the stupidest. It's the really dumb movies. They're so stupid, and I hate how they made Rhino this big mechanic thing.
So, Rhino was in them?
In the literally 2 seconds.
Oh no.
He's like a closing scene. He's a closing scene.
Why would they do that? He's such an awesome character.
I know it, but they made him a big mech suit, which is funny. The comic books, they did an entire Rhino versus fake Rhino in the mech suit, and had Rhino just like rip the fucking mech suit Rhino apart. And
yeah, exactly, dude. He's like an unstoppable.
They were so mad about the comic book creators. Were so mad about how they treated Rhino and made him this weird mech suit guy.
That's so cool. Okay, so let me spill my bit for it before we go into the spoiler zone, and I'm like cinematically and story-wise, I thought the story was great. Like, I thought that they did a good job. I feel like maybe it didn't live up to all of my expectations, but that's because I feel like I put my expectations too high. And I really feel for Tom Holland having to fill the shoes of literally every Marvel villain we've ever cared about, or Marvel hero or character that we've ever cared about. I don't know why I immediately went to Marvel villains as the things I cared about. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not a bad person. That was my Carnage laugh. That was my Carnage laugh. And that's what I'm trying to get to, is the fact that I'm so over and done with Spider-Man in fucking high school. I'm done with it. Like, I really enjoyed the first movie. And you, the other day, you told me, and you were like saying like, yeah, man, they established such a good like Peter Parker and a believable like thing like, going in the first movie. And it's like, yeah, that's good. I like that. And that's why I only wanted it to be in like that movie. Like, they didn't really, like, I get reintroducing him for Civil War.
Yeah.
You know, like, but I feel like they regressed. Like, I feel like they should, I think that they did a good thing when they introduced Tom Holland as Spider-Man in Civil War, with him already with kind of like a background, like you could tell he's doing this on his own.
Yeah.
You know, like, I feel like them introducing him and you being like, that's Spider-Man, he's Peter Parker. We already know all this shit about him. We already know his past. We know everything because we've had five blockbuster movies describing all of his origins and stuff like that.
Well, they didn't do an origin story. You don't see Uncle Ben die. You don't see none of that stuff.
You don't view Homecoming as an origin story?
No.
Dude, I do. Both. See, and that's the problem.
Stuff.
The problem is that I view Homecoming and this movie Far From Home as an origin story for Spider-Man, and I'm done with that. I got my origin story in the cartoons when I was growing up in the 90s and out of the comics. I got it literally out of the comics. I read this is the thing. I read the comics, Spider-Man comics growing up. Like, there's only a short run where he's in high school. So why have I seen fucking almost 5 movies? I know it's 4, but I feel like it's almost 5 movies where he's like essentially kind of in like high school still.
Yeah.
And I want a competent Spider-Man that fights like horrifyingly evil villains like the Jackal and Carnage. Not saying that those aren't in the movie, I'm just saying that they weren't depicted entirely. So like, so I feel like we need more of that, like more of superhero, not hero, superhero Spider-Man doing superhero things.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we'll do now is we're gonna do our little countdown, and everybody else, we're gonna save like the last 5 minutes to do like an outro. If you guys want to come back then.
Is that space cake an IPA or is it a
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Space
no,
cake.
Good.
Birthday cake IPA, I want to say is what it
There's a
is.
stout you can drink it. If it's IPA, it's supposed to be drinking cold. So. That's cool. Good stuff.
I mean, I could throw it in the freezer. It's gonna be bad though.
It's bad.
I don't know.
What? You don't think it's weird?
Well, I mean, depending on the manufacturer date, right? Like, didn't you say that
yeah.
IPAs, like, if they're not drank within 3 months of the
Is the alcohol content high?
I want to say so.
I think if it's above 9, it should last a little longer.
I don't think it's above 9 though. I think it's only like 7. Oh wait, let me look.
Yeah, go look at that.
Should we just review this beer?
Well, that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about reviewing another beer before we go into the second thing.
I mean, I can drink it. Dude, I'm not picky. I can drink it hot. You're not supposed to, but
Right. So you just want to. I guess
it's 9%.
Okay.
It's 9%.
You
So
just,
might
yeah,
just be-
yeah. Let's just pour it. I guess. Let's see what. We're gonna try this hot IPA.
This is not how they're meant to be drank, but we had the oatmeal stouts, which were, what was even the IBUs and shit for that? They don't really talk about IBUs for stouts. So.
I'm not. You can have that one. I'm not counting it on our list.
Why?
This is 11. This is from last year. It's almost a year old. You can't age IPAs. You probably.
Well, I didn't age it. I just was
I know.
I was drunk at the store and saw craft beers at a store that doesn't have normally craft beers. So I was
5,
like, whoa.
4, 3, 2, 1. Man.
Holy shit!
we
Can
were
we talk
swindled.
about fucking Jake Gyllenhaal fucking us in the ass with
Jake
the
Gyllenhaal.
mind fuck?
And that's, dude, the reason why the Spider-Man movie made it so high on my list is all because of Jake Gyllenhaal's
Yeah.
character.
No, that's what I'm
Jake
saying.
Gyllenhaal
That's what I'm
sings,
saying.
dude.
Mysterio being Mysterio is so fucking long overdue. Like, there's no comparison. That's why this movie is so good, because everything to do with Mysterio was interesting.
Yes.
It was inventive.
Yes.
It was fucking cool, and like, you didn't know what to believe.
Right.
And
Dude.
that's the whole point.
Mysterio.
I'll let you because Mysterio. I know I've known growing up with you. Mysterio was like your favorite
I
like
know,
Spider-Man
Mysterio's my-
villain. So
Like, he's a lot of people's favorite Spider-Man villain. He's Kevin Smith's favorite Spider-Man villain. That's why Kevin Smith wrote that Deadpool comic with him in it and he kills himself. But Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, the Mysterio character and it being on screen was one of the best. I mean, you can drink it. But I probably won't review it.
oh okay, if you're not we'll put it in the fridge
Yeah,
and do
let's
it
do
some
that.
other time.
Yeah, just a little. But
No, that's okay.
And but yeah, like probably one of the best villains in us. He's the best villain in the Spider-Man movie and one of the best villains in a Marvel movie.
Yeah, for sure. Like, okay, so there were a lot of, and I'll explain this to you. Like after we got out of the movie, I felt like there were a lot of like weird callbacks to like the Mandarin and Iron Man 3, and I was mad because it's like I did feel like, you know, the shtick has been kind of done before, but I mean the fun thing about it is I didn't know that until the very
Right.
end. Like because you don't know what's gonna happen until the very end. There were so many theories out there going into it, like.
Right.
Jake Gyllenhaal was Peter Parker from another universe. They said Nick Fury was a Skrull. They said that the Green Goblin was going to show up. They said that J. Jonah Jameson was going to show up. They said all kinds of weird stuff,
Yeah.
and it's like only like one of like it's like only one theory was correct. That was J. Jonah Jameson showing back
Yeah.
up, and it's the only one that it's the only thing about the movie that people are talking about. I think that it's weird that I've already like seen and like listened to a couple like spoiler reviews
Yeah.
for this show, and that people are not talking about Mysterio.
Right.
That they're
so mad at
only
themselves.
they're only
mad at
talking about like the fact that J. Jonah Jameson showed up.
They're not talking about Mysterio because they're so mad at themselves for believing
That
this is
there
the
would
movie,
be
that this is the movie that's going to
that-
show the multiverse and the way
multiverse.
X-Men are going to be able to be introduced and all
Yes.
this kind of stuff.
It's because
And then there's dude, that's like the best. That scene alone is one of my favorite scenes now.
probably
all
of
time.
all time, yeah. Like that, it
Yep.
was.
So there's
There's
this whole
no
scene-
way to describe. Like the thing is, it's like people that are gonna go back and watch these movies years later. They're not gonna understand the anticipation or the mindset that all of us viewers
Yeah.
are when we go into these theaters, because it's like kind of like what they were saying about Endgame, like you don't know what's gonna fucking happen for 2 years,
Yeah.
or like a year or so before like another movie is released to let you know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and
But yeah, there's this whole scene. Mysterio and Spider-Man, or Mysterio just got done defeating the last elemental monster or whatever, and they're in a bar with their masks off. That was weird. And
well, Tom Holland was in the he was in the black Spider-Man suit.
oh,
He was in the stealth suit or whatever, so people didn't really
so they
know
thought
who
he
him
was.
was.
Whatever the thing. was.
Night Monkey,
Night
which
Monkey.
I think that they didn't even like. It wasn't even in the news that he was the Night Monkey or whatever until like several days later. I want
Okay.
to say.
And so they were in that bar and they're chatting and they're having these heart to heart, and then he gives Mysterio a gift he got from Tony Stark after death, obviously, and Spider-Man
So-
leaves to go back to his field trip, and then he's just sitting there, and you feel it that this is the scene where he's like goes all maniacal and evil or something, and like you see the evil stuff, but you don't know how it's gonna go down, and when the bar starts changing, and like people are disappearing and some people are still there, then he's like, "Get me out of there, shoot!" And then he goes all fucking whimsical and fucking nuts.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's just like, "Yeah, we did a good job. Yeah, we got it." It's like, what the fuck's going on? Like,
Yeah, like, and then you found out that it wasn't even just Mysterio by himself, that it was a full fucking crew of
Yes.
people who've been working, and that they are all
It was a
jaded
good scene.
fucking
Yeah, jaded
Tony Stark
Tony Stark
employees,
employees.
like most of the other people. So it's like you begin to see how Iron Man has affected this universe, and I think that one of the great things about Iron Man's character is the fact that even after all of the stuff that he's done, I still kind of view him as almost a villain of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like the stuff that he tried to enact with Captain America was super horrible, and then he's he was pro-war for a long time, and even though he tried to cut the slate, like now,
yeah,
the damage is done, dude. Like,
Yeah.
the reason why these villains are popping up is because of Tony Stark. What he
Yeah.
did in the past. It may not even be what he did now or recently. It's his past.
yeah.
Tony Stark's past is so haunting that it is fucking up the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now.
Yeah,
Like,
it's causing
that's
villains to
and
pop up.
exactly. And people don't
Mysterio
really
and
understand. So
Drones.
what I want you to describe, Adam, is whenever they were talking in the bar, when it was just Peter and Mysterio talking, or Quentin Beck, when he was sitting there kind of explaining the glasses and talking about it, like, how did you feel there? Because, like, for me, I felt like I didn't know. Like, you know, it was like they're talking about this, so obviously, like, you know, like, obviously I feel like this is gonna be something really bad, and then that's what's gonna be like the turning point for Mysterio. But at the same time, to me, I felt like there was still an inkling of like, but what if he is good in this one?
Yeah, what if he is good? What if he's good in this one? Because he was doing so good. He's like just an actor. He was being that actor. But that's, you know, he wasn't
Like
an actor in this movie though. But he
No.
did acting. He was like acting,
Yeah.
and he was like putting on a performance, a show. But like he was originally
It
a
was
scientist. Though,
yeah.
or
It
whatever
was it was almost like he was so driven to be able to make this happen
Yeah.
that like he went down that path. Like he didn't care that he had to be an actor for it. you
Yeah,
know?
he had to, yeah. And that was the whole thing, putting on this huge performance to look like a hero.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we don't have to sit there and say that he was, you know, an amazing person. I feel like he also did, in a way, kind of like Peter Parker, like, or at least they wanted to make you feel like that. And
I'm sorry I have to kill you. I'm sorry.
yeah,
But you know.
and I think that they did. I mean, they really did a perfect job with Mysterio's character because it made you want him to be good. It made you want him and
When he's yelling at that
because
fat
he
guy.
was so relatable, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's yelling at that bald fat dude or whatever. He's all like, "Whenever I have to kill Peter Parker, just remember it's your
blood
fault."
is on your hands.
So mad. It's your fault. Like he obviously can't accept any
blame for himself.
Blame for himself. That
No,
was his big thing.
and you know what? The fucking the last part of the movie is the exact embodiment
Dude.
of that too.
It is.
Yeah, is
Where
the
you
fact
get-
that he was
so-
just, and that's not even an evil person. That is just a character flaw. You know?
Yeah.
That's like a supreme character flaw that can cause a situation like this.
That's what I noticed about Marvel villains is they're all not really like they're not evil for evil's sake.
Yeah,
They're like evil because of like
because of a situation.
yeah,
It's
circumstance,
nurture, not nature.
Yeah.
As far as most of the Marvel villains are concerned.
yeah, they're not just like I want to kill the world or whatever. I want
Yeah.
to watch. They're not Joker. They're
Unless
not,
you're a random person just in Thanos' army. I feel like
Okay,
those
yeah,
people
yeah,
just
random-
kind of
random
wanted
people
to.
in Thanos' army.
Yeah.
but-
I felt like those were the true evil people.
Because Thanos thought he was doing a good thing, and so
Yeah.
it was,
Oh, you think maybe all of his followers were like they thought they were on like
No,
a
I think
holy
his followers-
pilgrimage to Earth, and then fucking Captain America shows up and beats their head in with a shield.
Yeah, right.
They're like, God, death to America.
Death to America.
It's what all the evil space
God.
villains are saying.
But so, oh man, so we were all swindled, and Mysterio, there's a whole scene where Mysterio's like, hey, look, and Brad over here, he came up with the multiverse. People will believe anything you tell them. It was like,
No,
holy
and it,
fucking asshole.
they called
Dude.
everybody out.
A slap to the face to the fans. And you know what? It worked in this movie. It didn't work in Star Wars Last Jedi. I hated that.
No,
This
no, it
one-
did not.
This one, it was like perfect, and
Yeah.
because it was just great with the character.
Because it was like I feel like at any point in time in the movie, Jake Gyllenhaal could have kind of turned slowly, and then like grabbed his nuts and flexed or something and been like, got him.
God, dude, that's so crazy. And but that was the best parts. Mysterio, and it was fine. I thought we would get a second villain. I thought the whole black costume was gonna be given to him so he could go on a spec ops mission to fight Chameleon. And while we see Chameleon's name in the film, and we now know how the Chameleon the belt's gonna work. It's gonna work with this.
You think the
obviously with hologram-
projection?
Yeah, with the projection technology
Yeah.
is how Chameleon's gonna use it. So basically, Tony Stark technology is all villainized,
all the villains, and that's the thing is, it's like evil people they're gonna get their hands
which
on.
that's been like
evil
that since the first
technology.
Iron Man movie. The
Yep.
whole thing was like, Tony Stark equipment was being used against the U.S. military
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So that's just been the theme, and we don't know. I mean, we don't know if that's going to continue in theme because this is the end of this phase. Like this is the end of.
There's
this
one
whole
thing.
phase.
There's one thing that okay, or I'll say an additional thing, because not one thing. I think Mysterio is a saving factor in this movie. I didn't like the entire Peter Parker aspect of it. I didn't like any of it. Spider-Man, I felt like Spider-Man as Spider-Man was super incompetent. I didn't like that. I thought by now, he's already like, bitch, you've already been to space. Like, yeah, he had the instant kill mode going on as he murdered all these people, or space people.
Yeah.
So they don't care. They don't matter. Space people. But yet, he's dealing with fucking drones and one person, and he can't deal with that. Like, I don't know. I just felt like that maybe like his suit would have had thermal fucking vision in it or something.
He didn't have that suit.
Oh, because he couldn't be Spider-Man. No, but what about the end? Whenever they were in London.
He won in the end.
Oh, you think that's wise?
He had his regular.
But like,
he had his regular suit. When
he still didn't use
when he was
thermal
following
senses
victims,
though. He
he
used
had-
his Spidey sense.
Oh yeah, okay. You're right.
But I think that like that's kind of like thermal vision. Wouldn't you be able to see like the heat senses from like 10,000 drones? Like, I just feel like maybe that would be something like of a loophole. But that's overanalyzation. You don't want to get into that. It's a comic book movie. Like,
Which, I mean, in the comics, he uses his spider sense.
yeah,
He didn't have all this
exactly,
technology
exactly. And I think that's why it's convoluted. The whole Tony Stark like infinite science aspect of this is like. It's kind of a blank check for them to be able to say that when and what they can just do anything that they want based on science. Because even though it's magic, it's, apparently Tony Stark was just that advanced.
Yeah.
So.
And, because, I mean, he has stuff that he didn't have in the comics till way later. Like, Norman Osborn was the one that gave him the Iron Spider suit, and he already has it. And,
yeah.
Anyways, a lot of stuff that... It's just kind of like not really comic book accurate, but there's certain things about Mysterio were very comic book accurate. How Spider-Man finally is able to beat him is comic book accurate, using his Spidey sense to detect that the stuff's not real or whatever, and then the end, dude, the end. Yeah, we see J. Jonah Jameson for the first time. He's all Alex Jones out. He comes in.
You have to appreciate the fact that they did that.
And it's the J. Jonah Jameson from the Sam Raimi movies.
Yeah.
So they brought him back.
I really don't think we should touch on this topic that much because I feel like everybody already is. Obviously, we think it's cool. That's because anyone with a mind thinks it's cool. But the real question is, when is it going to be the awkward introduction of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man as a clone? Maybe that's what they can do.
Oh,
they can introduce Tobey Maguire, and this entire time, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield
honestly,
were the two clones.
And my biggest problem now is that, is he just not going to be a photographer at all in this?
I don't know. He
wasn't. You know what's weird though? He wasn't taking any pictures.
They showed it at the very last scene when he's fucking swinging around with MJ or whatever. He took a selfie. And
That's
then,
the new thing,
and then
Is that what
they
it is?
Immediately, and you want to know why they did that? Because in the video game where he
selfies.
sits there, So that's the only time they introduced it, was right before they introduced his character.
You've seen all the people
J.
like
Jonah
taking
Jameson.
photos and stuff with like cameras, and he doesn't have a camera on him, so he's not into photography at all, if ever. So he's not going to be working for J. Jonah. So this could be a whole different storyline, and they're not really following comic book lore.
Yeah, so the real story, the real clickbait article that I think that people should be talking about from this movie, that I feel like I don't understand why no one's brought this up yet. Is the fact that this is a 4th of July movie, and Spider-Man went to London and swung around and fucked up all of London. That's right. America just came over to London and then slapped a bunch of damage all over the entire place. And I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, like, obviously I'm proud because, it's Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
I think you're not proud.
Everybody's mad about it.
Yeah, what? No! That's some pink coat talking. Y'all don't know nothing about no foreign nothing. Ask Gary Johnson. He doesn't even know where London is on the map.
Where London is? Oh, I don't know.
I was just joking. That's some libertarian jokes.
I guess. I barely know who Gary Johnson is anymore. No. I was following him for a while, but it has nothing to do with this
everybody knows who Spider-Man is now.
Yep,
that's the big thing.
See, and that's the reason why I'm not just trashing this movie, is the fact that I'm so over and done with the high school scene, and I feel like they get rid of that, and then fucking finally I can have the Spider-Man that I want at full capacity before he dies of old age or something, or the MCU fucks up. Because I feel like they're about 3 movies from just fucking up too much.
Yeah.
And it's really worrying me. So make a good Spider-Man movie, and or continue the cinematic universe in a good, smart way, and then we'll be set, Yeah,
we don't know where this is going to go, or when we're going to get Spider-Man next, or what he's going to be doing.
No, they did not.
They didn't announce nothing for Spider-Man.
I mean, like, and that's what I was saying, I think before we were recording, I was saying, it's so interesting to me that all these theorists were, one, fucking wrong, so all you idiots out there, y'all are fucking wrong, and then 2, you don't have anything to say yet. Like no one knows. No one, all of these people that have, like, dedicated their lives to this are like, we don't fucking know what's going on anymore.
We don't know what's
like,
going on.
They didn't give much of anything. And then I think the people that did kind of see what was coming, they trolled and said, like, oh, they introduced a Green Goblin in the second credit scene.
Right.
Which wasn't even true. It was a Skrull. They
Yeah.
showed Nick Fury was one of the Skrulls from the other thing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they showed him in space, so obviously I guess they're trying to do more space stuff is what they're trying to hint at, maybe.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, with the internals and stuff.
maybe. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, doing the whole internals thing, and I guess Guardians with Thor. Thor's gonna be in that, and
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna see a bunch of stuff. So we don't know. Yeah, we don't know when we're gonna be back on Earth, because it's a lot of, like, non-Earth stuff happening. Black Panther 2 maybe. I think Black Panther 2 might be coming. And,
Do you think so?
Yeah, and
Because, I mean, I thought for sure the Black Panther 2 was going to be a for certain thing, but I feel like after the directors went and made that, like, kind of like crime film with him, they may have been doing that because they know that they can't make another one or something,
okay.
or that they have to,
I guess I haven't seen the slate. I don't know what's upcoming and what the new set of films, because apparently they're not going to build up to a big film again. They said they're going to do maybe small, like, 3 films that at some point connect, but they're not going to do a giant build up again.
Really?
Yeah.
And see, that kind of pisses me off, because it's like,
They said they'll do team ups again. They'll do team ups and whatever and stuff like that. But they're not really going to do, like, a 20 films to a big villain. You might get more of, like, short segments, like maybe 3 movies.
Yeah.
That are connected.
And see, I think that my problem is like, after watching all these movies, I feel like the Avengers run was super short. Like, it may have spanned, like, this many years and this many movies, but I feel like let's be real, they only told one story of the Avengers, and
right.
it wasn't that huge of, like, a story arc. I mean, okay, that's wrong. Like, it was a huge story arc, but it wasn't the only story arc that, like, say, Steve Rogers was involved in, or Tony Stark.
Right. But actors get age.
They do get age.
They get
Contracted the
they just don't want to do
HIV.
it no more. They want to do other films and stuff, and so you gotta, I guess, adapt and use all the women Captain America or something.
Yeah. Or since you're Disney, you contract them ahead of time, and if they break the contract, you just use a hologram
Right.
of their likeness because they signed a contract. So.
And recorded voices.
Yeah.
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 They did that with Toy Story 4. You know, all the dead people, they were in the film because they just used their voices.
Have you seen Toy Story 4?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. What's a good review for it or whatever? So might as well just throw some.
It was. I thought it was unnecessary after I thought about it for a few days. It's a good movie though. Good movie, but I hated the ending. A lot of people
Really?
loved the ending. I was like, mainly because it was like.
What if this is the last segment and the people are gonna come back and
the-
then it's like it's not spoilers for Spider-Man, it's spoilers for Toy Story 4. They're like, oh, what the hell?
But no, it was just disappointing. I guess the ending. I thought the third ending was a good closure. I thought this ending was not closure.
Yeah, that it was
It was
just
like
kind.
anti-closure. It was like what happened to the other toys? What about everyone else? What the fuck's going on? How's he just gonna do that to them? You know what's going on? Aren't they all friends? They're supposed to be together.
So in Toy Story 4 is like Buzz Lightyear and Woody still a thing? I haven't seen Toy Story 3,
Yeah.
so I don't even know if.
Yeah, they all get given to Bonnie, and in the movie, Bonnie kind of doesn't like Woody, doesn't like the Woody toy, and so Woody gets neglected, and during playtime or whatever, because she doesn't really like the cowboy doll or whatever.
Yeah, no.
And
He's a lame character. Like he was cool for Toy Story.
So
Even
Bonnie
in
doesn't
Toy
like
Story
Toy
2,
Bonnie
Disney was like, okay, we got to find some better supporting actors here.
Bonnie doesn't like Woody, and so, but she.
Would you say that there's
But
a snake
Woody-
in her boot?
Woody, in an attempt to be like I gotta make my kid happy and stuff. Like she's scared to go to school, so Woody goes to school with her. Like he like climbs into her backpack. I'll go to school with her and make sure she's good or whatever, and make sure everything works out.
And then he gets ripped apart at lunchtime by the other
he's
kids?
like sneaking around and like trying to like he's doing like secret stuff to like make Bonnie feel better, and it ends up leading to the creation of Forky. But Forky just wants to commit suicide, literally.
Are you for real?
Like yeah, dude. Like that's literally the story. Like Forky.
So
wants to literally
Forky
die.
is
He wants to die.
Jiggle Billy
I guess. Does
from
Jiggle Billy wanna die?
yeah, from I told you about this the other day, the Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he just
Come in
wants
so jiggling, y'all.
he wants to die because he says I'm not a toy, I'm trash. So he was like I'm designed to be destroyed and dead or something. So he keeps like Woody is like having to sit there and like keep Forky and like next to Bonnie and like keep throwing him from the trash to out of the trash to like all this other stuff, and then Forky finally like he jumps out of a bus or whatever, like, their RV, and Woody jumps out of the RV, and then they find Bo Peep because Bo Peep wasn't in the third movie, and in the beginning of the film you actually see what happened to Bo Peep. It's kind of like that's probably the best part of the movie was that intro scene was really like intense and like dark, stormy and
Oh, okay. I didn't know that's what I didn't know Dark and Stormy was the direction that they were taking Toy Story.
Dude, it was kind of a darker movie. There was like a girl version of Chucky doll that was the villain.
Really?
And she wasn't a real villain. She was
Well,
just like a really ugly doll.
I mean, there was some dark stuff in the first one, like that one kid's bedroom.
yeah,
like that was
Sid's.
fucked up. But yeah, I mean, besides that, like
I mean, it's not like a Chucky doll, but I mean, it's like a girl, like a thicker, like a doll, like that type of doll, you know. And she's like, oh yeah, I just want to be played.
Two C's?
No, that's what she wants. She wants to cut open Woody, and take his voice box and put it in her because hers is broken. So that's the whole thing. She wants to like cut him open and take his voice box.
oh, okay.
And so that's the big plot. That's the villain's.
Wow, that is dark.
Goal.
That's really dark.
And she ends up getting inside his head, and talking him into letting her cut him open and take his voice box.
What?
And then she finally, so she has a working voice box, and she goes to be played with by this girl. It's all happy, and then she's like, this toy sucks. And throws the doll down, and she's like, you can have your voice box back. Or something. It's so sad. It's like, oh my god, it's so crazy. They just went in a really dark, like, not kid direction in the movie.
Do you think they're trying to put more emphasis on the whole, like, throwaway society or whatever?
Maybe.
Like, I feel like they've always, like, that's always kind of what they've been trying to say with Toy Story, is that we live in a throwaway society.
Oh,
I guess.
that's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man was really good. As far as the movie was good. The movie was really entertaining. It entertained me.
I mean, the thing is like, I can't really say that I've seen, a better Spider-Man movie, because, like, here's the thing, is I don't agree or think that, like, Into the Spider-Verse should be considered in the leagues of live-action Spider-Man movies.
Me too.
Like, because I feel like everyone's like, oh man, Into the Spider-Verse was awesome, and they did such a good job, and this and that, and it's like, yeah, but they also had a world where they could introduce, like, Spider-Man Noir or Spider-Ham, and it not be, like, too outlandish.
Yeah, because it's a cartoon.
And and they could draw. All they have to do is draw everything, like, but instead of
Acting it.
yeah, like, instead of forcing Tom Holland to act for the past fucking, like, 4 movies that they've done bad.
But that's just your opinion.
That's just my opinion.
And that's fine, because all we have here are opinions and
And
Samuel
beer.
Smith's Oatmeal Stout. 5% of alcohol. Beer.
Hey, best beer ever.
We are a million to subscribe for more.